Hello there. Are you ready for the custom function? Well, here we are. So before we get started, I just want to thank you for viewing this video, and be sure to check out all other how-to videos from this channel. And I would appreciate it if you could subscribe and share this video. It would be helpful. Also, leave the comments below for discussion, and I will respond promptly. In this lesson, I will show you how to create a custom function and how to use it. And we're going to be executing this function from the code behind and from the query. And lastly, I will show you how to incorporate the table data in the query and how to use it. So there is no requirement for this task. Just pay attention. It is not that difficult. It's real straightforward. Sometimes you wonder how information is displayed on the computer screen or on the laptop or on the tablet. Well, this is how it's done, and I will show you. Enough for talking, let's get going. Okay, let's start our application. Go into the search box, type in, if you don't see an access up here, just type in access, hit enter. It will bring up to a blank page. We're going to create a new blank database. So double click on that, and let's save this in our appropriate folder. If you don't have this name, this folder, go ahead and create a new one. I already prepared this one as a function, so I'm gonna put this database in here in this folder. I'm gonna call this guy function, and we are presented with the blank table. For now, let's forget about this blank table. We are interested in the module. A module in here, you can add different functions in here. In object programming, we call this object. However, this access is being known as a module. So I'm going to delete this this module, or actually I can go ahead and name this guy as a math function, and then save that. So in a function, in any programming, a function can only return one value and one value only with appropriate data type. So in our case, we're going to make things easier. We're going to use a math function. We're going to create a function a couple of functions, num1 as integer, num2 as integer, and then this function will return an integer type as integer. Now in access, you don't have to declare a variable by itself, although it's not wrong to say test as integer. However, in access, you can use the name of the function, and in fact, the name of the function is a variable with an integer data type in our case. So we don't need to do that. Now, if you were to do that, you will have to reassign it and add the name assigned to the name of the function. So we're not going to do repeat ourselves. Let's go ahead and delete that guy out, and we'll say add equals num1 plus num2, and that's all there is to it. So now we have a function called add in this math function module or object. So I'm going to copy that. We're going to make a couple more. Let's make 3 more there, and change this one to subtract. Subtract, and then likewise that's going to return an integer. Change that to subtract, and this one's multiply. Also we'll want to return that as an integer as well, and change this operator to multiply, and we want to make sure that the variable is multiply as the name of the function. Here we're going to say divide, and now division, an integer returns a whole number, and a whole number cannot have a digit, and therefore we need to change that to a data type that can return a digit. In this case it would be a double. That's divide. There you go. So now we have 4 functions: add, subtract, multiply, and divide. So let's save that guy out, and we're going to go to our environment, and we have to have somewhere to test our function. And as you begin to program, you will know that anytime you create a function, you must test it. Make sure that it does what you want it to do. Although this is simple enough, we can understand. However, if we have little complicated function or complicated function, you want to make sure that it returns the value that you want it to return. And that's how we always have a test environment. So let's add the blank form here. Let's add let's see, in our function here it requires 2 numbers, so let's add 2 text boxes here. Let's add 1 text box here, copy that guy and put another one in there, and let's see. So let's call this first one here as an entry 1. Entry 1. Second one. Entry 2. And let's change this text box name. Come over here onto the right here. TXT entry 1. And then entry 2. Now you notice I call it entry on this test screen. That is because if we want to test something else, we don't want it to be mistaken. If we call it number 1, number 2, what if we change test some other function that has nothing to do with the number? And then it would be it's not appropriate, let's say. So we just call it entry 1 and entry 2. We've got 2 entries. We need a way to display a result. So let's add another text box. This will be our result. We're going to display our result here. Highlight that, change that to TXT result. There you go. And let's move this guy back here, make it a little bigger. Not a whole lot. That looks good right there for now. Yeah. So what else do we need in order to test our? Oh yes, we need a button. let's save this form as a test screen. There, just add a test screen. Now let's add a button that can execute all action or function. Now when you add a button, this wizard will pop up. Wizard has to do, many times this pop-up has to do with the database. And we're not working with the database, so therefore we can just go ahead and X out. So X out. And then change that caption to continue. Continue. Where is the point? Yeah. You got it. Continue. And then let's change that name. Now you can. Some people liken it to have a an alias as BTN. I just like CMD. So it's your preference. You wouldn't call it whatever you want. So I'm gonna call it CMD continue. All right. A lot of time, the reason why I use CMD is CMD stands for command, and a command is an event which trigger. So that tells me something relating to that, but instead of BTN. But I'm not. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Whatever you want to call it, it's okay. All right. So now we got a button. We got two text boxes, two entries, and a place where we can display our result. So let's click on that continue and click on this event tab. On click, double click on that guy, and let's go into our function, our subroutine. Here is our subroutine. Notice it says sub, and that's okay. It stands for subroutine. In the old days, we have a module, a block of function, and we call subroutine or function. So, and that's where it comes from, the sub or subroutine. So in our case, we are going to make sure that we are in here and test our function. All right, let's begin testing. We can say, actually, I'm going to go a little further to add a little bonus. Although this lesson has to do with function, however, I'm going to add validation. I'm going to show you how I validate these guys before we execute our function. So let's make sure our text boxes have something before we execute our function. Otherwise, we're gonna get error or exception. So let's do this. Let's do if not is no. We want to make sure that those boxes have something, and not is no. Text entry 2, then do this, else, and do this. So that we have it. So if it's not no, then we want to perform something. Well, let's jump back to here. Let's jump back. Let's take a look at this guy. What if somebody just put blah 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 in there, and that's not a number, and you cannot perform your function because the functions require two numbers, and those are not that's not number. So what we want to do is to validate, making sure that there is not only that it is not empty. We want to make sure that these entries are numbers. So how we can do this? Let's how about How about let's add a message as string. How about I add a message? We're gonna validate this guy. So we're gonna say if not is numeric. Now numeric is an access function that validates if it's a number or not. So we're gonna validate the first one in first, and then we're gonna say if it's not a number, and then we want to say asterisk entry 1 is not a number. How about that? And then we want to add a carriage line. Now a carriage, CRL, that's a carriage line function. So we want to add a carriage line function because we have the second validation in here. Here's the second validation. If not is numeric, which is the second one, then we do the same thing here. I'll go ahead and copy this guy. Now, if this first one is not a number, it will add this message to here. We don't want to get rid of that guy just in case there was a message. So what we want to have here, we want to add, well, actually, there and include that previous message in case both of them are empty. Let's test that out for now, and you'll see. We're not gonna do anything. We're gonna take that guy out, and that would be no. So you know what? We're not done yet here. Now, if MSG is not null, then we want to display message. Then MSG, actually we want to say, how about please correct following errors. And then how about critical? And then we're going to say error. All right. Okay. So what it says here, if that variable is not empty, that means there is an error, or there at least one error. So let's check that out. What happened? What the heck? Let's see what is going on. Oh, not is null. How about if it's null? My bad. If it's null. Let's try this. Oh, got it. My bad. So how about I had it right. So that's part of programming, is to understand the logic. So if both of these guys met, come in here and validate the number. But if they're not met, we want to say, let's say entry 1 and entry 2 are required. There you go. My bad. There. Now, if these guys are not empty, regardless of the number or not, we want to jump in here and validate the number. However, if either one is empty, we want to make sure this guy sends a message. That's what it is. There you go. So it says please correct the following errors. So I think I'm missing something here. Did I miss something here? Oh, yeah, I get it. So I didn't even include the message in that message box. So what we need to here is go ahead and add the two carriage return, CRL is video. There you go. And the message, the error message that this guy. So now let's try that again. See if it does what we want it to do. There you go. Please correct following errors. Entry 1 and 2 are required. Now remember, if either one of these guys is empty, there you go. So oops, it's that one. Let's try this guy. There you go. Now what if this guy what if that guy is this? How cool is that? So we got entry 1 is not a number, and entry 2 is not a number. I think I misspelled right here. You can see entry 2. There is not a number. So let's change this guy to I don't know, 4. Let's see, divided 1. So entry 1 is correct, entry 2 is not correct. So that's how you validate. Now you should always validate these variables or entry boxes before executing any function. Because that is because function requires parameters, and these parameters here, they must match. If these parameters are not correct, then we're going to have exception. So to prevent errors, we always validate the entries before we execute. Now, if this guy is empty, if there is no message, let's try to execute our function. If the message is empty, if there is no error, we want to say, let's see, let's do this. Yeah, 2 equals. Let's call math function add parameter 1, parameter entry 2, and then we'll want to add the line, carriage line. Carriage line is going to be your buddy. So there we have it. And we are going to actually we want to now underscore is the continuation. So we're going to copy that guy and add to that guy, add to that guy. There you go. We have 4. We're going to change this guy to minus or subtract, and change that to subtract, change that to multiply, change that to divide, and there we there you go. So our result text box will include these messages. So let's see. Now let's see if that's going to do right. Look at that. 4 plus 5 is 9. 4 minus 5 is negative 1. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 divided by 5 is 0.8. All right, let's move on, because we are having fun. Let's move on. Let's close this out. And what we can do with this function. What else can we do with this function? Well, let's go into here, and we're going to add a query. Let's go to query design. So here we can we can execute our function in here as well, not only from the screen or from the code behind, but also on the query itself. So here in the first column, let's get into the zoom. Let's zoom in. Let's call this parameter. Yeah, parameter 1. And then parameter 1 is, how about 4? And then we call parameter 2. That's 5. That is consistent to what we tested over earlier. Now I'm not sure and have not done this part this way, but let's yeah, we're gonna try see if this works. So we're gonna call addition add. Now this add refers to this function. Access is pretty smart to recognize that if there is a function, meaning any name with the with parentheses, it refers to a function. So if it sees these two parentheses here, it will go into the module and look for these functions. So I think this will work. I have not done this before, but we'll find out, won't we? Parameter 1, parameter 2. I think that will work. Well, let's save this guy. How about math function? Yeah, that's good enough. Since we are working with it. Oh, it does work. Oh, good, cool. There you go. So that's how you do it. So you define parameter 1, parameter 2, 4, and 5, and then you use these parameters to in our function here. So let's continue. I'm going to copy this guy and get back into the zoom on this next column and change this guy to subtraction. Okay, and then change this function name to subtract. Now in Access, the name of the function, the name of the subroutine, or the name of anything or variable, it's not a case sensitive. So you can just have this guy as a little s, but trying to be consistent here, I just put that one as a capital. So we got that one. Let's move on to the next one is multiplication. Multiplication and multiply. Ooh, look at that. There you go. So that's multiplication. And the next one, what is this guy? How about division? Let's take and then divide. Now, obviously, it's kind of hard to check if the number is empty or not empty in here, but it's possible you can have if then else in here, but that's in the future. So we're not going to validate the numbers or the variables in here. Just in case you want to know, you want to validate, making sure those parameters are not empty, for example, then you can do this. You can do this. You can do if yeah, if parameter 1 not no, then do that. I can move back here. Otherwise, no. I think that will work. I think I'm missing an argument somewhere there. It needs 3 arguments for. Oh, parameters. So the first one is no. It's not no. Then go ahead and do this guy. Yep, that's it. What's wrong with this guy? So sometimes it's so small that I cannot see. So I'm going to pull up my my notepad and see what's going on here. Let's get a new one. Oh, that one needs to be here. There you go. See, that's why the notepad works, because it helps you to see where all these parameters or all these so that's the reason why it was barking. Let's get rid of that. There you go. So that's how you validate the the parameters in here. You have to use the if function, and the if function, the IIF, that will always help you out. You know, now of course you don't want to just validate one. You want to make sure, and similar to how we did it, like so, and similar how we did it with the test screen. So, but when I would just leave it like that, and let's save this guy, and let's see if that works. The if, you know what? Oopsie. There. I think I accidentally took out this FFI there. There. It has to be FFI. It has to be IIF. There. So that's it's only one F. Yeah, you're right. There's only one F there. There should be IIF, like so. Otherwise, it won't work. Anyways, let's get back to here. So there you go. So that should be the same as this test screen. If we put 4, 5, hit continue, 9120.8, 9120.8 with these 2 parameters. How cool is that? Now that's not the end there. So this demonstrates that you can do a lot with the function. Now let's go. Let's go further. Let's move on, because I want you to know, to recognize what else you can do with this guy. Let's start with this table. We're going to call this account. We're going to create a table, and we are going to include the let's use auto text. That's easy. Let's see what else we can do with this guy. First name, last name, and then for testing purposes, we're just going to call this so we got first name, last name, and parameters. Now this is the continuation of our function here. So let's call this account. Nope. Sure. Let's make that a primary key. In Access, every table has to have a primary key. So, and that's the reason why you see that pop up. So when you create a table in Design, make sure you just right click on that guy and primary key, select that, and we're good to go. So let's get back to our function. Why I did that. Let's go back to this math function here, the module. Math function module. I'm going to show you that we can also do this. First name as string, last name as string, and then we want to return the name, of course, as string. Now we have contact full name equals as first name, and put the space in there. There. Ooh, what the heck? I got two of them in there. There. So now we're going to see this in. We're going to put these all functions to work in our query. So let's open this guy up, and then add this count table in there. What we want, let's get back into Zoom. We want full name and the name of the function that we just created, which is contact full name. So let's get back in there. We'll call contact full name, and then parenthesis variable. So we're going to move back to here. Parameter 1, parameter 1, 2. Now you notice we put parameter 1 and 2 in here on purpose. I had planned doing this earlier, and therefore we don't have to change anything there. How cool is that? So it helps to have to plan things out ahead of time. So I'm going to move that one in there, and I'm going to change that one to parameter 1. See there? Select the account table and parameter 2. And now this guy still refers to this 1 and 2. You see there? That's good. If I execute this right now or run this right now, I won't see anything because the account table is empty. Let's see that. Nothing there. So let's go ahead and close that one out. So now we need to get something in there. So let's put Jack Panyagon. And then parameter. Now let's use the same numbers as we know these numbers. If we know these numbers, if they don't spit out the same number as we tested earlier, then something's not right. So in our case, we always want to make sure that we test the same methods over and over again and getting the same result over and over again to make sure that that function works the way we want it to work. Now later on, of course, this number can change when we put this to work. But for now, for testing, make sure all these results are the same, repeated. So let's go ahead and close that one out. Double click on this query here and see, let's see what we have. Oh, full name 4 and 5. That's weird. Well, let's see, name 4 and 5. That's weird. You know what? I might have done. Yeah. Dang. I lie. So actually, I tricked you. I didn't trick you. I accidentally put that. That should have been first name, last name. Look at that. My bad. So Save that and just run that. We got full name. And we got parameter 4, 5, 9, -1, 20, and 8. So you can see the benefit of having functions. Just one function, you can use these functions in various places. Not only that, you could use it on the screen, in the code behind. It's a code behind. We call this a code behind. You can also create a query and manipulate the numbers or the user function, use the function module. You can also include the table in case you have some variables in the table that you need to manipulate. In our case, we tested the full name. We can concatenate the first name and last name to get one full name instead of typing first name and last name. So this is a way to do things. All right, and there you have it. There you have it. This is the that's how you use function. Now this function can be as complicated as you want. This is just to demonstrate what function does. Function returns a value. A value can be an integer, a double, a string, anything data type. You could even return an object. In the future, if I have time, I'm going to show you how to make this guy return an object, say a list of something. But right now, this is real simple function. There you have it. Thank you for watching. Please come back and don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and hit that bell for future release. Thank you again. Bye for now.